Hey everybody, welcome to the farm. My name's Lanny and glad to have you here. I've considered sometime doing the YouTube video thing for the farm, and just so people can kind of see what we do here and how we do things. Just never knew really where to begin, so just taking some pieces of advice from some other people that I follow on a regular basis and just doing it. So I'm sure we'll make some mistakes along the way. Maybe we'll do a few things right as well too. But like I said, welcome to the farm. Um, my wife and I operate the farm here, and you may occasionally see her on video. She's not much of a photo person. She really doesn't like photos or videos. But anyway, uh, we operate this farm, and on the farm we've got quite a few head of sheep. We've also have goats, pygmy goats, a few head of cattle, chickens, as well as you may be able to hear in the background. And as I was kind of thinking about this process and kind of where to begin, I thought, this is kind of a good place as any to get started, because a lot of the questions that we have about the sheep and about what we do on the farm usually kind of surrounds around breeding season and lambing season. And it's getting time for us to kind of swing back into that process. We've been through lambing season, and most of the lambs are off the farm now and have been sold at market. But we do have a small handful of latecomers that are still on hand. Other than that, though, it is time for us to start looking at breeding season and also start looking at our first lambing group for this season as well. And I thought, well, maybe that would be a good place to start, is kind of with what we need to do to get ready for this season's lambing. So hopefully we'll be able to kind of take you along with us. One of our biggest problems has been the heat. The heat indexes have been up 105 to 108 degrees for several days, and the heat is becoming just absolutely unbearable. There's a nice breeze blowing today, but unfortunately that's not been the case every day. So there's a fan over at the other barn that we're going to take down, and we're going to bring it over to where the girls are right now with the handful that are there, because we will be moving more in very shortly as we get ready for breeding and lambing season. So that's going to be the process of getting that down. There's also some electrical problems that we're going to have to take care of before we can do that. So that's going to be what's kind of on the agenda right now. That's the fan that I'm going to get cleaned up and get moved over to the other barn where we have the girls out there. Once again, hopefully you can hear me over the tractor, but I got that fan out, and I was just going to move it over to the other barn by hand, even though things stinking heavy. But I'm starting to hear a little bit of thunder in the background, which I'm not upset about at all. So I decided, though, that I might need to get the tractor, go ahead and get this thing moved over and get it under cover before it gets wet, because we definitely are going to be needing this fan, especially with the heat indexes throughout the rest of this week and into the next week as well. So we got it moved over here, and as you see, it's freely turning, but it's not plugged up. But anyway, what I got to get done is the capacitor right here. A few years ago, moved one around and just went ahead and plugged it up without checking that capacitor. Little did I realize that there was a leak above the fan. Water had gathered inside that little housing right there, and when I plugged it up, it was fireworks. So this time I'm going to take that off and check it for water before I try to plug it up and see what we've got. Okay, so I got the wire screen moved out of the way, and as you can see, looking at the capacitor, there's a little bit of corrosion in there, so it looks like there might have been a little bit of moisture in there since the last time I cleaned it out. So I'm going to clean that out good and check those connections, make sure it's making a good connection, and then put it all back together. Alright, so we've got that redone, cleaned all that up, cleaned the connections, put it all back together, and hope for the best. Well, there it is on its test run. So far, so good. Beyond that, fan feels pretty good. But anyway, our next project that we're going to be moving on to real soon is this hay table. You see some of them eating off the table there. We built this table last year from an inspiration my wife got from one of the online YouTube sheep farms that she had seen. So what you can do is you can set your round bale on top of the table and roll it out. This one isn't long enough to unroll an entire bale, but you can roll it out one night, and then the next night you can roll it back, and after about 2 or 3 nights you've pretty much got a bale used up. But as you see, it's time for us to get this all pulled out so that we can get this all cleaned out and get ready for our next group of lambs. Okay, so I went and got the drill and took that section of the header rail off of this section so that I can get the tractor now and get worked in here, pick up this section, and hopefully be able to move it out of here without too much trouble. Well, got it up, now just to get it out. And just like that, one section of the table is gone. Unfortunately, doing this is kind of like cleaning a house. You know, you make a mess in another room trying to clean up another one. So that's what it's going to be like for a little while until we get everything cleaned out and get the reset process started. And there it is, first section of the table out, which means clean out has officially begun. Well, maybe an opportunity to meet some of the cattle. We've got cows on a kind of a bottom pasture that we use for rotation grazing, and we haul water down there to them. Got a water tank on the back of the tractor, one of the IBC tanks. Anyway, they like to spend these warm days down in the shade trees around the creek. We fenced off the creek a long time ago when we first moved here, mainly because at that time we were doing specifically sheep and goats, and we never could figure out just a really good way of fixing that creek where we wouldn't have an issue with coyotes, and we've just kind of left it that way ever since. So, even because the sheep do rotate through these same pastures as well. So we haul water, and that's the tank right there that we haul water with. It's a 275 gallon IBC tote. That's a swimming pool hose that I put on there as my hose, and it can fill up a tank pretty quick. So let's see if we can see the cows. So like I said before, this tank makes it pretty easy to get water down to these places that doesn't have water access real easy. So I just unhook the hose, drop it into the tank like that, open up the valve, and there we go. And it don't take it long to fill up that tank. Well, there's a couple of the girls there. The one on the right, that's Jayla. That's one of the ones I was checking on because we're hoping that she's kind of heavy bred. She hopefully will be having a baby very soon also. Right there's a few more of the girls. That's Layla, which is Jayla's daughter from last round. And Pebbles, her newest addition. That little calf right there is about 3 weeks old, roughly. A couple more of the calves, one of the steer calves up over there. Looking for Jet. Jet is the oldest one of the group. She was our first calf, and actually a lot of these girls kind of originated from her. There she is. That's her Jet right there. She, like I said, she's kind of the originating member of a lot of this herd, the oldest girl out here. She was originally a bottle baby and was kind of concerned of how much she would do for breeding, but she has been absolutely fantastic. Couldn't have asked for anything better. There, that right there, that's Joe. Joe's another one that we're hoping is heavy bred. As you can tell by her size, though, she's kind of a small girl. She had a rough start after the flood that we had here a few short years ago. Her mama was lost in the flood, And the farm that she came from, the guy called us and said, if you can catch her, you can come get her. So us and a couple of other people went over and got her roped and got her back to the farm, where Jet and a couple of the others who were currently nursing other babies took her on and helped finish her out. But she's just a little small compared to a lot of the others, so we've been watching her real careful, and that we do believe that she's bred also. I was going to move away from the tractor just a little bit. As you can see, the grass on this field is not just horribly deep, but it's better than it was. It had gotten overgrown with some headed out fescue, and when that fescue gets mature and headed out, the cows won't hardly eat it, and because it just gets so tough. So over the past few weeks, been going through and spending time bush hogging these fields to allow the Bermuda and the other summer grasses that are underneath that fescue the ability to have some room to grow. And it's really greening up nice. We've not had a whole lot of rain since we've gotten it done. So just what little we've had has really helped a lot. And after I stirred them up, looks like the cows have decided to come out and grab a little midday snack. I was just taking a walk out in the pastures while I was filling up the tanks, kind of looking at the grass and seeing how much longer it's going to be before we have to start spraying, and it doesn't look like it's going to be long at all. These fields sat dormant for so long before we moved here that goatweed and horse nettle seems to really like it. And unfortunately, in a grazing season, we can lose as much as a third of our graze to the goatweed and horse nettles. And so it looks like it's time to start getting ready to get these pastures sprayed before all this gets out of hand. Yeah. Oh, there's the old tractor. And one of our hay rings that I hadn't got put up. And our new tractor. So anyway, this one of our bigger large breed guard dogs, one of our older boys, David. There's Sadie and her puppies. Not all of them, just a few of them. One thing about our girls is you sure don't have to call them twice for supper. Whew. So here's what we're going to do. Here's how feeding time works here. There's my feed buckets there. And we have this feeder rail set up with these feeders on the inside so I can pour out from the outside without getting run over too bad. And then we have a couple of other feeders set up in different locations. One back there, one there, one tub over there that we can use for feeding. And that way it just goes a little bit faster and I don't get run over near as bad. I'm going to try this angle, see if you can see how this works. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to go over to the ram pen and I'm going to feed the rams real quick, and also go on out and cube the cows. Our rams are in here separated right at the moment. They're going to be going into service soon enough. One of them likes to hit me in the butt. That's our boys. But anyway, we've got 5 rams, and our first breeding group that we're going to have is, I believe, 40 ewes. And this time of year is not the normal breeding season for these guys. So that's kind of what we're doing, is we're going to be using a supplement that helps delay the heat cycle of the girls till we're ready to turn the rams out on July 4th weekend. A lot of fireworks, we hope. We're hoping with the number of rams, the number of ewes, and the supplement kind of giving them a double blast heat cycle, we're hoping, will get them covered in a short amount of time because of the heat. So that way the boys won't have to be in service for quite as long. It's hard to do the feed buckets and hold the camera at the same time. So now I'm going to go put this bucket up and get the cubes for the cows. I got them right here. So we'll pour these out here on the ground for the girls. And they're kind of like the sheep. You don't have to tell them twice when it's time to eat. There they are, enjoying their cubes. Just trying to catch the little one. Here she is, over there close to Mama. There's Nicole, Joe, Layla, Jayla, right there, black and white. That's Roxy over there. Roxy's calf, right next to Pebbles. Pebbles is the black and white faced one right there, or I don't know what you call that. Not really black and white, but anyway. So anyway, we're going to enjoy those cubes for a little bit. Well, as the sun sets in the background, this is, I guess, as good a place as any to call this video done for today. Still got just a few things to do that we're going to be taking care of, but going to take a break for supper first, and then we'll come back and get finished up and call it a night. But that being said, we're going to head to the house for a little bit, and hope you've enjoyed watching. Hope some of it entertained you or informed you in some way. That's kind of the reason why we decided to do these videos. So make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell for notifications of new videos as they come posted online. So until then, we appreciate you watching, and hope to see you again soon here on the farm.